Welcome to the Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. I am your host, Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices. If you could do us a big favor and hit subscribe, like, share, comment on this episode and our well over 100 other episodes, that will help us share the stories of our guests, and at the end of the day, we want to help others and make everybody feel included in the different spaces, mental health and recovery and career advancement. So if you could do that, that would be great. You could also find us on our Voices for Voices YouTube channel. We're now on Vimeo for 2024 and going forward, and all audio platforms you can find us. So however you consume content, you can find Voices for Voices there. Voices for Voices is the #1 ranked podcast and TV show where people turn to for expert mental health, recovery, and career advancement intelligence. Our Voices for Voices TV show and podcast is all about teaching you insanely actionable techniques to help you prosper, grow your self-worth, and your personal brand. So if you are a high achiever or someone who wants more out of life, whether mentally, physically, or spiritually, please make sure to subscribe to our TV show and podcast right now. As you can see, our TV show and podcast publishes episodes that focus on case studies, real-life examples, actionable tips, and in the trenches reports and interviews from subscribers just like you. If that sounds like something that could help you or somebody you know grow personally or professionally, why don't you join me by subscribing, liking, and sharing our Voices for Voices TV show and podcast. A programming note, we in 2024 have started what we are referring to as the bi-weekly roundup through our Facebook live channel. Every other Friday, Voices for Voices Facebook page, you can find that. And what we do in that particular venue is talk about current events facing our communities, our state of Ohio, our country, and oftentimes also some world topics that come into play. So keep your eye out for that, and we'd love to have you tune in. You can keep an eye also peeled for our upcoming October 2024 4th annual A Brand New Day Gala. So information about the lineup and the card for that particular event is going to be coming soon. So keep your eye peeled. And if you or an organization you know would like to sponsor that event or a episode of our TV show and podcast through all the channels and platforms that we offer, we are reaching a lot of people. And each week, each episode, we're gaining more and more individuals and organizations following us. So we can definitely help your organization expand the message and reach into the spaces that we speak about and delve into. And as we are Voices for Voices, a 501c3 nonprofit charity organization, we do accept donations from 1 cent up to the amount of your choosing. So every penny helps. Your donations are 100% tax deductible, as well as sponsorships are 100% tax deductible. So you can reach out to us via our voicesforvoices.org website, and there's a contact button. You can reach out to us, or you can email us directly at president@voicesforvoices.org. Okay, so getting into today's episode, we are joined, as always, by a special guest. This guest happens to be, on a personal level, my best friend, somebody I can talk to about anything. We kind of have grown from times at our undergrad at Youngstown State University, and since then, the different professional and moves we have made career-wise, and then as well as personal experiences that we're going through as individuals, as family members, and so joining us from somewhere near Columbus, Ohio, we have Dave Kagle. Dave, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Justin.
Yeah, you bet. Glad to be able to get this episode put together, and having the the TV studio layout and to reach many people. So for those who don't know, we're going to keep things a little bit general, so we're not going to be naming names for some of this content, for respect for personal and confidentiality. But Dave and his wife Erin, they have a child that is autistic, and so that brings different maybe challenges and hurdles that. Well, I guess there's no handbook to be how to be a parent, but definitely with with having being on the autism spectrum, there's very little information even further on that. So, Dave, if you could maybe just talk about a little bit of learning that your child was on the spectrum, and then you can walk through different hurdles and things that you and Erin have had to work through out of maybe out of the non-autistic child side of things that we might not think about.
Yep. So our youngest was born normal weight, normal everything. Pregnancy was great. Started the first 2 years, and everything was normal development. Crawling, walking, talking a little bit when they were supposed to. And then right before they turned 2, we noticed just a complete drop off in communication and emotional, just kind of one emotion. And we were concerned. We were very concerned for obvious reasons, but we couldn't pinpoint what was going on. To give my wife the majority of the credit, she's the one that pushed and didn't just accept the answers on the surface. She kept pushing and asking for more information, more appointments, that kind of thing. I was right by her side, but I was more trying to take an optimistic route. So we started with appointment with the family doctor. Family doctor at the time didn't think there was anything wrong. Told us to just wait it out. As time went on, we started looking up, what it could possibly be, doing our own research online. So things my youngest was exhibiting, hand flapping, preferring specific tasks, preferring specific foods. They went from eating a wide variety of foods to only eating a specific few. Said the communication just completely stopped in its tracks. There was no verbal communication or development in any way, shape, or form. We eventually, through our own research, convinced the family doctor to refer us to up the chain. So we got put on a waiting list with one of the children's hospitals in the area, and then we also referred to our local county board of can't remember if it was child services or developmental disability services, but it was an early intervention program with the county that deals with kids who may or may not have something going on.
Mm-hmm.
And my youngest was initially diagnosed with a disease or something called Merrill. I don't want to say disease, but
Mm-hmm.
a condition called Merrill. It's mixed expressive language disorder. Just you have trouble getting your words out and expressing yourself. So we went with that. We're able to get our youngest into an early intervention program through the county that we live in. That was a huge help. They started to go through a early intervention preschool program through a private school in the area. We were unfortunately put on a very long wait list. We live in one of the largest counties in Ohio, so um, the wait list for that program was very long. We had been waiting for months, and our intervention specialists finally said, "Well, there's a private school in the area that you can go to as an alternative. Let me see if they have an opening." And they did. And luckily, we were able to get our youngest in with the private school. The good news is because it was early intervention, there's no cost to us at the time. Um, and then things went crazy in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The COVID pandemic happened. So we have a almost 3-year old who is a wonderful kid, happy kid, but just doesn't understand the world around them. And all of a sudden, they're going to a program and now they have to stop. So that was a huge challenge for us. The school tried everything they could to do things remotely, but in situations like this, where you have an individual with certain sensory issues and attention span challenges, it just didn't work. So we worked with the school, and then after waiting what felt like throughout that process, we were also put on a waiting list to have an appointment with the uh, children's hospital in the area. They're one of a few facilities in Columbus area that can do a autism spectrum diagnosis.
Okay.
And because it was COVID,
Mm-hmm.
we had to we had to do a appointment for diagnosis similar to how I'm talking to you right now. We had to do a Zoom meeting,
Uh-huh.
and it was a it was one of those experiences I hope a lot of parents don't have to have. We kind of had an assumption that that's what was going on, but we were just waiting for we were waiting for the process to take its course. Weren't jumping to any conclusions. So to be with your child and go through those questions and go through the a few hour long process of what the medical professionals are trying to do over through a computer screen. It was one of those just challenging experiences. And then to get the news, your youngest is autism, or your youngest is on the autism spectrum, and then to have the computer cut out immediately after because the battery died.
Uh-huh.
Your range of emotions goes all over the place. The good news is once we officially received the diagnosis from the hospital, that was what allowed us to seek more treatment options, seek more aid, um, get things rolling on how we could help our youngest as best as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, be the best kid and individual that they can be. After we received that, we were able to work with the school, and as it stands today, they're still attending that school.
Mm-hmm.
It's unfortunately it's a private school, so there is some cost involved, but because of their diagnosis, we do receive some aid from the state of Ohio, which is a good thing. and that helps offset some of the costs. But yeah, those were the big challenges as far as what we had to go through to finally get the diagnosis from the medical professionals.
Yeah, and so you have kind of the diagnosis process, and then being able to start getting the care that lines up with that diagnosis is obviously the one area of the story. But then there's also your and Aaron's, I mean, your health, your well-being, and things that are happening as well. I mean, the world isn't stopping at a certain point. That going through those range of emotions of, okay, where do we have to go? How do we sign up? And oh, there's a wait list of, I don't know, hundreds, and oh my gosh, like are they ever going to get to the point where they can get the help in time? What type of emotions were you feeling that way then? Like what's going on? Why isn't there a better process?
Yeah, yeah. Our range of emotions was, everything you could think of, from just, both of us crying for no reason, out
Mm-hmm.
of frustration, anger for sure at, you know, we live in one of the biggest cities in the state. We feel like the process should work a little bit easier because it's something they should be used to.
Yeah.
Um, to learning the ins and outs of, oh, well, you work through your county, and then the county, is the one that kind of steers you in the directions. And then learning that certain services, it matters where you live. If I had any advice to any parent um, who suspects specific, just has that gut feeling that, maybe my child has something.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to the bottom of it. Where you live is a huge part of that. We live in Franklin County, and we have access to more things than I can keep track of. But I know I have an acquaintance. They live up near Sandusky, and they don't have access to hardly anything. They don't have an early intervention program where they live. They don't have the private schooling. They don't even have. It's just, it's amazing to me. And you think it's 2024.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff should be easy, but in reality, it's not. Um, but yeah, the emotions were very high.
Mm-hmm.
The the But we tried to keep perspective,
Okay.
um, as well, because at the end of the day, our child was happy and healthy
Mm-hmm.
and just enjoying life, with their mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
and older sister, who is not the my oldest, didn't go through any of these things. I mean, there was no suspicion of any developmental things. So
Mm-hmm.
having a child who isn't on the spectrum and having a child who is, going through those range of emotions, trying to explain to my oldest, this is why we have to do this. Your younger sibling is a little bit different than you, but
Mm-hmm.
in I give my oldest a lot of credit too.
Right.
She was she was a joy, on all honesty. She still is.
Yeah.
Um, and just, accepting and loving, and what do we need to do to help him, to help him, my to help my son, and
Mm-hmm.
let's do this. When anything she could do to help, she was right there. So having her with us at that time too helped a great deal, because it helped us keep perspective and everything, and also just maintain some balance in our lives,
Mm-hmm.
because we had her to go along with us.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing such intimate, transparent details. So if we get kind of maybe to it's like current state with your child, I know we had personal conversations about, but just taking things at a high level of they're doing really well given where they're at. So you mentioned maybe more maybe like bottled up thoughts for maybe a period of time, and then all of a sudden it's like everything for a period of time in the past is coming out, and how exciting that is as a parent to see. Well, it can be a lot. I mean, as we know as parents, things happen really fast, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. It just depends on each parent and their path, and like you said, where they live, the county, the city, and the state or country potentially for someone.
All those things you listed do have a huge impact. City, county, state, and country. It's sad to say, but curiosity at one point in time, my wife and I were curious, is the United States the best place to be for his development and for his situation? And the sad thing is, a lot of countries, or at least countries you would think, okay, that seems like we should look into this. A lot of countries do not accept immigrants who have a disability.
Oh.
Because the Department of Commerce views them as a burden. So, and they don't care what the disability is. So that was something that was very eye-opening as well.
And and it also is important, right, where you work and the benefits that are offered, what things are covered, what things aren't. Can you talk a little bit about that, maybe the importance? You don't have to get into specifically if you don't want to, like where exactly work, but just from like a benefit standpoint, where an employer could say, wow, like, this employee is having all these additional extra costs because of given experience, given situation with a family, versus maybe another employee that doesn't, and just how you've been embraced, because I'm sure there's different appointments and things you like to attend, and having that flexibility in the career has been helpful to you as well.
Yeah, I know. I know the biggest thing that's helped us is I'm still in a job that allows me to work from home.
Okay.
90% of the time, it's a come to the office as needed basis situation. So it allows our family dynamic to work very well. My son attends a private school. He receives speech and occupational therapy through the school, which is a huge help for us. At one point in time, he was getting private speech therapy, but then when he was fully enrolled in the school full time, they said, well, we offer it here. You can keep going to private speech therapy, but you don't have to. And then the nice thing with the school that we go to is they work with your insurance provider and also the state,
Okay.
because we're under a program with the state of Ohio, and but I believe I don't know if it's Franklin County specifically, but it's through the state. We are allotted so much funding for support services.
Oh.
And the school works with them directly, so it takes a lot of pressure and stress off of us as far as dealing with okay, is this covered? Is this not? Will this hit the insurance? Will it get covered by the state funding we receive? So it it helps a lot. And one thing I would say for anyone watching this is, you know, keep looking, keep fighting, don't don't let try your best not to get discouraged in your given situation. We originally weren't sure how we were going to handle some of the schooling and the tutor and the therapies. Well, luckily, I have fairly good benefits through my job, and um, the therapies fall under, I believe they fall under mental health therapies.
Mm-hmm.
So there is an allotment of sessions that will fall under your insurance, which is a good thing. I know not all providers are like that, but at
Mm-hmm.
least the one I'm on. So that was something that helped quite a bit, and it's something we think about. Our family situation is, I'm the primary worker, so insurance is through me. So that's something I always think about. It's a question I've asked, and
Yeah.
a question I've asked before in a job interview was, okay, here's my family situation. Is this covered? And it's if they say no, then there's been times where I've had to think real hard about whether I want to keep pursuing that job opportunity.
Yeah.
But getting him in with the school that he's at was a huge help. The school itself helps us a lot, and it's been a blessing. So I advice to, again, seek out your county, whoever you need to work with through your county or your city for child developmental services. Pick their brains. Don't be afraid to call people, email people. Um, if you're the type of person that likes to go on social media sites
Mm-hmm.
and ask, go ahead and ask the question. Just, hopefully you get some kind people who will reply with some good advice. Um, just don't always accept what the professionals tell you can or can't do. I would say just keep looking for that information. I was also lucky. I have a cousin who works at the Rich Center for Autism at Youngstown State, and she gave us as many resources as we could handle from
Mm-hmm.
her job. So that helped us out quite a bit as well.
Excellent. Uh, so I'm thinking maybe we could wrap up this episode, and we could come back with a second episode, talk about job searching, career changes through during the pandemic. Does that sound like a good
Yeah,
plan? Okay, great. Well,
sounds good.
we'll close out this episode, and then we'll get to the second. So we want to thank our guest, Dave Kagle, personal friend and fellow professional and fellow husband and father to discuss in such intimate, transparent details about having a child on the autism spectrum, the different hurdles that he and his wife they've encountered, and his message of don't just take one answer from a professional as the know all be all. That continue seeking help, continue looking for funding opportunities, and again look for ways to support your family. And if that means in a job interview asking about benefits, then we need to do that. We need to support our families regardless of where they're at in the journey. So until next time, I am Justin Allen Hayes, founder and executive director of Voices for Voices. Thank you for joining us. And until next time, we ask that you be a voice for you or somebody in need.